Okay, everybody, welcome. I wanted to introduce Justin to you folks. This is a conversation with clients and/or prospective clients. As always, I'm trying to figure out what non-professionals, as in the financial advisor world, how do our clients perceive us or non-clients perceive the whole finance and the money? So just kind of having conversations around that. So with that, I wanted to introduce Justin. Justin, thank you so much for coming on here. I would love to kind of find out, first of all, if you don't mind just giving us a little bit of a context of, what your age range is and what you're currently doing.
Sure. Thanks, Anand. Happy to be here. Justin Myers. I am 35, and my professional career, I started actually as a strategy consultant with IBM. Did that for about 5 years, and then I co-founded Vietnam's first digital bank called Timo over another 5-year period, and had a nice little exit for myself financially. And then now I lead Explorus, which is a platform helping people discover the world's greatest places.
Got it. Awesome. So you have a little bit of a finance background if you did, endeavor and started the first digital bank for Vietnam. Huh?
Yeah, I suppose so. Funny enough, I had no prior financial industry experience before that project, but having done it for about 5 years, I definitely am familiar with the space.
Got it.
It's consumer banking at its most.
Yeah, of course. So I want to kind of dive in a little bit about, the concept of money, the concept of finances, investments. For us who have been in the financial advisor world, a lot of this is common knowledge, and we just feel like, everybody will know everything about it. So starting with that, I know you and I kind of briefly talked before. You had a financial advisor before, or do you currently have one?
When I was at IBM, I was saving a bit of cash, and I got hooked up with my family's financial advisor out of Merrill Lynch. I didn't really understand investing at the time, but I had some money to be invested, and that's the route that I took. But as soon as I started to kind of learn finance, I quickly moved my money out.
I see. Got it. So you left the Merrill Lynch advisor, and you're managing the money for yourself now. Is that right?
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Sure.
But yes, now I kind of manage my own finance.
So tell me, I guess, what's your first memory of money for you? What's your relationship with money?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in one of the richest counties in the country, Oakland County in southeast Michigan. But I was far from being one of the rich families. And so, to be transparent, yeah, I mean, we were the broke family. I was the guy, the kid who couldn't get this, couldn't get that, couldn't go there, couldn't go here. So it was sort of a rougher start. Both my parents also filed bankruptcy.
Got it. Ouch.
So it was a rough beginning.
Got it. Interesting. And so when you were, I guess, growing up, right, where did you go to learn about money? Naturally, obviously, you were saying, you had a tougher time than other kids in the area. Like, who were there role models that taught you about money?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the biggest sort of learning adventure I went on was actually investing my own money. Once your money's invested personally into the market, that's when you're starting to monitor it more, track the trends. And I think just, over a few years of investing in some stocks, I just started to get intimate with how all of this works, and the 52-week highs, the 52-week lows, the dividends. I do want to attribute Fool.com, Motley Fool.
Oh, that's right.
I think I somehow got introduced to that platform. I don't remember how I did, but they told me to buy Shopify like 9 years ago. So I got in very early on Shopify. Yeah, so Fool.com actually is something I listen to quite a bit, and I went really, really tech heavy. This past week hasn't been good for tech, but if you look at it across the last 7 years or so, tech stocks were they really helped me out.
Got it. Tell me your experience with the financial advisor. We're not going to necessarily name the names, but I just want to kind of get a feeling of what your view was of that experience and why did you decide to leave the advisor and go on your own?
Well, I think it's worth noting that at the time I had maybe like 20, 30-ish grand with the financial advisor, so very small beans. And that's perhaps why I wouldn't get certain, care or attention, just because, I'm such a small little account. And, I didn't speak with him all that much, spoke primarily with his assistant. And I didn't really understand these lengthy reports that they gave me. It felt like a lot, like maybe that's part of it, optics. Like, let me just give you, pages and pages of reporting. And I don't know, and then I didn't make any money. I think that was the bigger point. For context, let's see. I was working at IBM from 2008 to 2012, I think. And, the markets, I suppose, all in all, were pretty rocky at that point.
Yeah.
With the housing crisis and such. But yeah, I wasn't really earning anything. And I didn't, and when I asked him, where I was getting a loss, like I didn't even understand what he was saying to me.
Yeah.
So, just a lot of unfamiliarity.
So it's interesting, our industry, and the reason for this recordings that I'm doing is because our industry is going through a transformation, and a lot of advisors are starting to recognize that we need to, explain things a little bit more clearly to our potential clients, right? And you seem to kind of mention, getting those books and reports, and it's just like, it's overwhelming. Right. A lot of it is sadly disclosures that we are required to, but I totally understand where you're coming from. So tell me where you're at now. Like, since you've left the financial advisor, you've been managing your own and investing, and you've said you've gone more on the tech side. Do you think you would go back and hire a financial planner? There's like fee-only planners, or, there's fiduciary advisors.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like I've done well for myself all in all, but I feel a little too risk exposed between tech and crypto and this and that. And I do have an intention of kind of like getting a bit more of a plan in place for sure. I'm fortunate to have, I think it's interesting to share around. So who's mentoring me now, or where am I getting my insight now? So I do have a very dear friend who's a wealth manager at one of the large investment banks. And so I think him and I have maybe like an annual chat, and, he's helped me rebalance my retirement account a bit, but it's all pretty kind of hands off. And I'm in a few chat groups with some of my financial savvy friends. Got to believe in Twitter and YouTube on what to buy next.
Well, there's TikTok now too.
Yeah, and TikTok, great. That's right. I forgot about TikTok. What a great place for financial advice. So. And I say that also with seriousness.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of folks who are taking to these different social media, some of them are legitimate, just, folks who learned a couple of things and want to, try and grab as much of market share as possible. I am no longer in the industry. I am focused on building a technology for financial advisors. So it's just, for me, when I look at that, it's just, I have a different view of it. I've done it for 2 decades, where I've helped clients retire and fund their education goals and what have you. So I would love to kind of get your thoughts on, if like what the difference is between a fee-only planner versus a fiduciary advisor versus a wealth manager.
Not so much, but I can deduce that fee only is essentially like a consulting fee for somebody to come in, assess, make a recommendation, and maybe you pay them X amount a year to meet. But there's no, trading fee or upside carry in the management of the money. And then there are those options whereby, they earn nothing if you earn nothing, that is the thing.
Yeah. So,
but then they take a percent of gains.
So tell me about your, thoughts or feelings around, so there's different ways advisors can charge a fee, Okay, so I know you don't have one right now, but eventually when you do, I want to kind of get your thoughts. There's a one standard way that has been there, which is, we'll charge you a percent of some sort on the assets that we help manage for you, for example, right? That's normally called assets under management model. Then there is the other model, which is, hey, no, we'll just charge you a flat fee. Let's call it $5,000 or $10,000 or $2,500, whatever the fee may be. And we'll just do that, but we won't, necessarily charge you on the assets, for you. What's your thoughts between the two different models?
I mean, I at the end of the day, it's the only thing I would really care about is year over year return. And I would frame and I know that's also impossible for like a fund or manager to guarantee. I guess historically they can make XYZ claims, but I mean, I don't really care how I pay them insofar that I'm getting the higher annual return on my investment.
And we'll now jump over to something else that I know our industry is really focusing on now is behavioral coaching. Do you know what that even means?
Well, my wife's a life and health coach. I have a personal coach. So I understand coaching, but behavior as it relates to financial decision making.
So what happens is, when the market turns the other way around, right? A lot of people freak out and they want to pull whatever their investments were. And that's where financial advisors can come in and, kind of help with the behavior coaching element of it and say, listen, based on your plan, you taking this money out is going to hurt you more than really help you over the longer term, right? So making decisions based on looking at numbers and plans and then trying to take the emotions out of the equation,
right? Cool.
So that's kind of the new way. I know we've gone over a couple of minutes here, so I wanted to just kind of end with, what is it that you value? You mentioned return, right? Obviously, but what do you think you will value when you go back to having a financial advisor again?
Well, I mean, as it relates to what you just shared about behavioral coaching, I have definitely had what you could refer to as paper hands, right? So a coin, particularly around crypto, not so much in the equity, but, a coin gets freaking hammered and there's a lot of fear that it'll continue going. And so I sell. And I've made a few mistakes along the way. So one of the nice things about a financial advisor holding the money is it's like a step removed from me to make any sort of rash decisions, which is a nice little barrier, if you will.
Yeah, it's an interesting way that you put it, but it is true. When you have to make a phone call to us and say, okay, I want to sell out, all of a sudden we can have a conversation and say, let's discuss what the emotions are behind it, right? So, Okay, well, thank you so much, Justin, for this. It gives us a little bit of an insight as an industry so that we can keep getting better in helping new potential clients come and seek out the advice and the help of advisors. So I appreciate your time on this.
Of course, happy to help. Thank you, Anna.